There's a tremendous amount of. They really believe over there in one man, the auteur. I mean, to use a cliche, but in all the fields, in television, even in series. I mean, the television series stuff I've done is like that. They basically say, "We rather like that idea. Here's the money. Go do it." 6 months later, I deliver it, and they fire me.
Okay, we're ready.
Rolling along.
We're ready. Okay. What was the first show business job you ever had?
I was a screen test for a movie called Rings Around Saturn, where I was going to play a little Mexican kid that ran across this magical giant bull from Saturn. Actually, that'd make a great plot for a... Excuse me a minute. Get my agent.
How old were you?
I was 6.
Did your parents like push you into show business, or is it something you just wanted?
They were in the business, so they didn't push. I just kind of fell. Really, just.
What did they do?
My father was an actor. He'd done the Count of Monte Cristo series in the 50s. And my mom had been in radio and done some singing, so it was a natural. I followed in my father's footsteps.
What was your first big part?
Circus boy, in about 1956, I think. It was a little kid in a circus, black and white show on NBC.
How long did that run for?
It was about 3 or 4 years.
And when did the monkeys come in? When did you get into the monkeys? How did you get into the monkeys? How was your screen test?
I was an actor. I was trying to get jobs. I'd done Mr. Novak and Peyton Place and bits and pieces like that, guest shots. This is when I was about 19 years old. Circus boy was when I was about 10, and nothing but school in between. And my agent sent me to an interview for this show called The Monkeys, and I was going to college at the time, taking architectural drafting. And I went for this interview, and I almost didn't go. And then screen tests, and then more screen tests, and everybody was up for it in the whole world. And they chose me, fools.
Did they know what they were looking for, or did you know what they were looking for?
I think that they were looking for personalities, and contrasting personalities, rather than hiring an existing group, because I gather they had considered that, and they'd interviewed some groups. But groups tend to be, that have born together or grew up together, tend to be similar in their personalities, maybe, and that wouldn't necessarily work visually. So they were looking for contrasting personalities, people that would be very distinct, and have a variety of talents. Like I was an actor, but I'd also sang, and I also played the guitar, but the fools cast me as the drummer, naturally. So I learned the drums quick.
So, I mean, you eventually had to go on the road, so you all had to learn how to play.
Yeah. Oh, we did 200 concerts the first year.
So what did you like, you shot during the day and then you crammed at night and had to...
Yeah, for about 6-8 months. I had to learn real quick. But, I mean, let's face it isn't brain surgery. The songs were simple songs. They weren't complicated jazz or anything. And I was adequate on the road. I certainly learned a lot very quickly. And then we started recording our own stuff.
So you became...
The machines are very loud.
Yeah, that time is correct.
It's really too loud?
Yeah, it's definitely audible.
Okay.
It's real present.
That sounds like it.
Okay. Does this mean that the screens have to be blank, or can we...
Yeah, because there's a black burst feeding through there, unless I roll some black tape, which I do have about 10 minutes worth of black. So I can just roll through.
There's a black burst? What does that mean?
Does it kind of loses something having those dark, though, doesn't it, Terry?
What if you change...
Well, let's put it this way. Between the sound and the dark monitors, I'll go for the sound.
As in what's off?
I think you need if the sound, that's very present.
Yeah.
It was too present.
Should we start over?
No, I mean, it's fine. The monitor will go off at some point, but I don't know how you're going to edit them.
If it was only 2 questions, if it's not a problem for you,
No.
would it be okay to redo those?
You want to go over?
Yeah.
I can send some black video through.
Ready. It's getting nice and cozy and warm in here, isn't it?
Okay, and go.
So we'll go back to the beginning.
Let's go back to the beginning. And now that we're at the beginning, I'll start even more chronological, a little better this time. Is how did you get into show business?
Well, through my family. My father was in show business. He was an actor. He played the Count of Monte Cristo in television in the 50s. So I followed my father's footsteps, as it were. Fell into it.
Did they kind of like push you to your first part, or?
No, they didn't. I mean, when you're a kid living in Hollywood, it's pretty apparent, where the action is. And I don't ever remember, thinking, oh, I gotta be a star. My father was an actor, so I used to go to work with him and watch him work, and just a logical kind of progression.
Just natural.
Very natural, yeah.
So what was the first commercial part you got?
Well, the first actual part, I mean, I screen tested as early as 6 years old, but the first part was a thing called Circus Boy. It was the lead in a series for NBC called Circus Boy. I played Corky, and I had a pet elephant. And that ran for about 3 years. And then I went back to school, and about 19 years old or 20 years old, I was going to college taking architectural drafting, actually. And I had an agent. I'd done a few jobs, Mr. Novak and Peyton Place and stuff like that. And he sent me for an interview for the Monkees.
And what I want to know is, what was the elephant's name?
Bimbo. Remember him well. Warm, slimy little trunk. Everywhere.
Everywhere?
Not everywhere, no. Most places, yes.
So what exactly were they looking for when they were casting the Monkees?
Well, I think they were looking for personalities, contrasting personalities. They'd interviewed some already existing groups, I gather. And I think because groups that have grown up or worked together or born together, brothers or whatever, tend to be similar maybe, and works great musically, but possibly not on television and on video. So they were looking for four guys like the Marx Brothers. I mean, everybody compares the Monkees, of course, to the Beatles, but it was much closer line to the Marx Brothers than it ever was the Beatles.
And did you know any of the other guys beforehand?
No, I was cast. I was an actor. And I went in cast to play the part of a drummer. And I mean, we had overlapping talents. I was an actor primarily, but I played guitar and I sang, and David had been on Broadway, and Mike and Peter had been in groups, and so they combined music and acting and variety and theater and everything.
But
and
you'd never played the drums before?
No, and I had to learn quick.
How long was it from the time the series started before the time you guys had to go out on the road and actually play?
God, it wasn't long. It was less than a year. And so I had to really hop to it. But I mean, it's not brain surgery. And the music was simple, and I was adequate. Mm-hmm. I learned a lot on the road after 200 concerts, I'll tell you that. And my hands bled, and the works. But it was pretty hair-raising there for a bit, yeah.
Do you still play drums now?
No, I'm going to have to pick it up again, though, because we're going back on the road, it looks like, this summer for a little reunion kind of tour.
I understand Peter and Davey are already touring in Australia?
Yeah, they're doing something in Australia, yeah.
Will you be joining them there at all?
No, I'm working here.
So who's playing drums?
Well, they're probably doing, I don't know what they're doing. They have a band. We'll have a band also, because I doubt very much if Mike Nesmith will be with us. It'll just be David and Peter and I. So, but we'll have a band anyway, because a lot of the Monkey stuff, especially the later stuff, had big band productions and horns and strings and the works. So we'll probably carry a band anyway.
And you also sang lead vocals on a lot of the songs.
Quite a few, yeah.
Did you actually play drums and sing at the same time when you were on tour?
No, I played the drums of the song, then I came out and I sang the lyrics a cappella.
I was curious. That's what I thought. Maybe that's what happened.
Yes, of course. Like chewing gum and farting at the same time. It's not brain surgery, This is only rock and roll. Only pretend.
But the spotlight never goes on the drummer, though.
That was tough, actually, because I was stuck behind the drums, as it were, and I happened to sing a lot of the leads just by coincidence. And so that was a bit of a problem. But I came out from around the drums a few times and get another drummer to come in, and I'd sing something up in front and jump around like an idiot.
So what did Davey do while you were singing?
Sometimes he played the drums, actually, or he'd play tambourine, or he'd play some percussion instrument. Or actually he played the bass on a tune, and he played multi-talented,
So how come Michael Nesmith isn't going to be touring with you?
Essentially, he's just too busy. He's a major producer in Hollywood here, in films and television. He had his own series, as you know. And I just don't think it's something that he particularly wants to do.
Just, since we're talking about him, he's said some some not nice, very nice things about the Monkees, lately. And I don't know if it's just because he's being hounded by people or what. But
I suspect that's probably the case. But Mike always had a bit of a problem with it. Certainly more than I did. I think a lot of it was founded in the fact that originally we were criticized a lot musically. I didn't mind so much because I was an actor. And when I had 2 or 3 records in the top 10, somebody came up to me, Tommy Boyce came up and said, you have 3 records in Billboard. And I said, what's Billboard? I mean, I had absolutely no idea. So I didn't mind so much. David didn't mind because he was essentially an actor. Mike and Peter, who were essentially musicians, of course did. And they minded the criticism, and they wanted to control it and to have it something that was, let's say, more organic musically. But, and I guess that he still has some problems with that.
so he took the whole thing rather seriously then.
Well, the music, yes. I mean, but music is, of course, serious to a musician. And it's serious to me. It did start to bug me, too, when Rolling Stone magazine, started going on, and they missed the entire point, that the Monkees was not a group. The Monkees was a television show about a group. And just like Star Trek, Leonard Nimoy's not really a Vulcan. I mean, I don't want to break your heart, but... and that's how I certainly looked at it. And we were much more closely aligned to the Marx Brothers than we were the Beatles, which was always the comparison people make.
Did the Partridge Family get that kind of criticism too? Or?
I don't know. The Partridge Family was a show that I gather was put on the air to fill the gap that was left after we quit. And I don't know if they received the same kind of criticism. I doubt it, because that was blatantly actors playing the parts. Whereas with the Monkees, the distinction got a bit vague, because we did play and we did go on the road and we did do concerts and we did do records, and it was a bit confusing.
Maybe it was because you actually had a lot of top 10 hits, and were extremely successful.
Yeah, came as a big surprise to a lot of people, me included. It was quite a pleasant surprise, needless to say.
Did you have a hard time dealing with the fact that all of a sudden you were a superstar?
Well, speaking just for myself, I'd had some success in the 50s in this series Circus Boy. I'd gone on the road, I'd toured, I'd had a moderate amount of adulation. And then I'd also had the downside, after it finished. So I'd been through that curve once. So I'd like to think that I handled it fairly well. I mean, I'm told I had a good time. I don't remember a lot. It happened real fast, and it was very intense. I think we handled it fairly well. We are still alive, for starters, which is a big plus. The aftermath is always the most difficult, I think. And again, I'd been through it once, so and I had a very, very strong. Very strong parents, and with an awful lot of confidence and help, and they'd seen me through the downside of Circus Boy, and the same with the Monkees.
Was there?
Why don't we stop on
Yeah,
pause
this
there?
question,
Because
but
if you don't, we're going to
Run out of date.
Okay.
Because I think if that's something that should run in like a news thing that nobody would ever really have probably thought of before.
I hope I made it clearly enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's going great so far. You comfortable?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Good. Don't want to make you uncomfortable.
You want to?
No. Yes, as a matter of fact.
Do you think I could have a little of your water?
Yes, please.
Sweating away back here.
A bit difficult starting over like that.
Yes.
I know. they repeat.
Okay.
Ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was going to ask you, when the series is over and there was no longer you didn't have the records on the top of the charts anymore, was it a problem? I mean, you obviously went from a point where you were all of a sudden getting a lot of money regularly to not getting that money. But did you have any problems with that?
Well, again, speaking for myself, I was fortunate in that when I started getting the big telephone number size checks, I gave them to my mother because I had nobody else to give it to. And fortunately, I did, and she invested it. So I've remained fairly solvent. I got to keep working. I want to keep working, of course, but that wasn't such a great problem with me.
So you also thought ahead while you're doing the series to what would happen afterwards. So is that how you started getting into behind the scenes, kind of behind the camera kind of stuff?
I don't remember actually ever thinking about it. Again, I think that's a logical progression with somebody that's been in the business for 30 years at the time. Well, right now, this is my 35th year in the business. And, oh, God, you're so old. I think it's a logical progression, certainly for an actor. And I just realized that directing was where all the power was. Controls the lives of millions. I don't remember how it happened. I asked to direct the Monkees and wrote an episode, directed it, and enjoyed it tremendously.
Which episode was it?
It's called the Frodis Caper, actually. It's about never mind, it was about same old thing. Davy falls in love with a girl and we get him out of trouble. One of those, I just remember enjoying it a lot. And after the Monkees, I did try for quite a while, a couple of years, to make the transition. And I thought, walk right in, make deals. But everybody, first of all, thought I was a drummer. They didn't even remember that I was an actor. And at that time, even being an actor and making the transition was not too easy. So I did have problems. It was difficult and a bit frustrating. Made some commercials. Actually, the guy that runs Harmony Pictures here is the first guy that I did a commercial with. And cameraman was Alan Davio, who just did Color Purple. And I took that commercial and the episode of the Monkees, and I went to England. I was going as an actor to star in a musical called The Point, Harry Nilsson's that animated cartoon. Well, we were doing it as a musical in London, in the West End. So I went over there. It was my last acting job, and I gave my reels to an agent over there, and she said, "I'll banter these around town while you're here." And she sent me to the BBC, who just happened to be doing a show called Premiere, which was designed exclusively to premiere the talents of new directors in England, which only you could do in the BBC. And I got the job like the next day, and I said, "Whoa!" I was ready to get on the plane. I'd packed on those. This could be the start of something. Simultaneously, I happened to meet an English girl who I fell in love with and got married to. And I just stayed there. I literally went for 3 months, and I haven't left, and I live there now.
Are you a citizen there now?
No, I'm a permanent resident, it's called. I'm a citizen, still a citizen here, but I'm a permanent resident.
That's really why you married this English girl, right?
Yeah, just to get in the contract.
So what was the thing that you directed for the BBC?
It was a little drama. It was a short, half-hour little drama play, which they are wont to do in England. And it's still one of the nicest pieces of footage that I have. It's wonderful directing in England, I'll tell you. It's heaven for a program maker.
What's the difference between directing here and directing in England?
A lot of differences. But I think fundamentally the English attitude towards television, films, commercials, music videos, whatever it might be, is different. And that is that they still demand that the project is headed by one man and his vision, the auteur, to use a cliche, in all the different businesses over there, in all the different forms of the business. So basically, when you have an idea, a movie or a television show or a commercial or whatever, they say essentially, "We rather like that idea, here's the money, go do it." And you never hear from them again. There's no network meetings, no committee meetings, no story conferences, no endless people looking over your shoulder. You're loaded with the whole thing. And in television, you tend to produce and direct. You do both, and I've done 60, 70 shows, produced and directed, in the last 4 or 5 years. It's quite difficult, but you do tend to get great stuff. Not that necessarily mine is, but you get like upstairs, downstairs, you get these great faulty towers, you get these great inspirational, television shows or movies or commercials. You also blow it, you absolutely in the poop
Toilet.
in the toilet. What you don't get is all the gray stuff in the middle, because nothing is done by committee, and that's why I think essentially the stuff tends to look a lot better. In all fairness, there's not as much at risk either. In England, the budgets aren't as big, clients aren't dumping so much money into the products, and so there's not as much at risk, and people tend to take more chances. But it's deeper than that. They also, for instance, there's no cloning in English television at all. The last thing you'll ever get on television is a show that's even slightly similar to another one that's a hit. In fact, I had a show in development that was just one little element was similar to something that came on and was successful, and they knocked it out of development. So for a program maker, that's great, because they're constantly looking for new stuff.
Would you not want to direct in America?
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I mean, it is great over there, but there's not a lot of money in the budgets. So you're always constantly fighting budgets. There's not a lot going on anyway. There's only 4 television channels, and the film industry is fairly non-existent. Commercials, of course, are there, and music videos are quite good. But there's not a lot going on. No, I would love to work over here, and I'd hope to bring some of that English attitude and some of the talent and some of the conceptual, inspirational, spontaneous kind of stuff over here, and inject it a bit into the American film and television industry.
You talked about music videos. You directed some music videos in England.
Yeah, I did quite a few years ago, when the budgets were still, very, very low. Record companies weren't really thinking visually. It was still zoom into the guitar, please, and so I was a bit disenfranchised. I wasn't too crazy about it, because we'd done all that in the Monkees, to a degree. So I wasn't real thrilled. But more recently now, people are getting a very keen sense of visuals in music videos, as you know. I mean, it goes without saying. So, in fact, that's why I'm here at Harmony Pictures, to kind of set up a music video division. This is a major commercial purveyor of television commercials here in the States, and they've asked me to set up a music video kind of division, and I'm hoping to bring some of the English talent over and to, as I say, kind of interweave a bit.
So I think the whole British thing was in the cards for long ago, because you used to do British accents all the time with the Monkees, I remember.
Yes, I did, didn't I? Yes, I've always had an affinity for England. My first wife actually was also English, and I don't know why. I just my father was first-generation European. Maybe that's why he was right off the boat from Italy, and so I've always had an affinity to Europe.
There's also kind of a British sensibility about the humor that you've shown with the Monkees and stuff since then. And how did you, to kind of segue into, how did you get together with the Monty Python people like Michael Palin, and because you directed it?
Yes, I read a play that Michael Palin and Terry Jones, 2 of the Monty Pythons, had written for stage. And I just thought it'd make a great theatrical short, which they also tend to do in England, cinema shorts, the old one-reel B-movie thing. And I just thought it was a funny idea, and it was very bizarre. And we shot that for 20th Century Fox.
Was that ever shown here?
Oh, I don't think so. I got a copy. No, it wouldn't have been shown here. I don't think I don't think the Americans would really appreciate it. It's very British. It doesn't, and humor. Some British things work over here, but generally, I mean, I don't think it travels too well.
And how did you get together with producer David Putnam?
Well, again, I was at the BBC, and I had an idea to do a short based on an old Peter Sellers record, Balham Gateway to the South, which was a famous record in England, a travelogue kind of send-up pastiche. And I thought it'd be a good idea to do that as a short. And my agent took it to David Putnam, who said, that's a great idea, and took it to Paramount, and Paramount said, that's a great idea, and then David was going to produce it, but he started working on Chariots of something, and he couldn't produce it, but we shot that. It was very successful. It was a good little film.
You also directed some stuff that I don't know if the people watching it will know what Spitting Image is,
But you will.
But you will.
They are
could you
bizarre.
kind of describe what exactly they are and what you
Well,
did with
spinning
them?
image is a bunch of puppets, caricature puppets that are done to. Should I talk to you or them? Because you know, don't you?
I know,
Forget
so
it.
tell them.
No, they're caricatures, and they're made to look like famous people of the day. Margaret Thatcher, the royal family. They have one on Reagan. It's very political, which English comedy does tend to be sometimes. Very satirical, and I mean, it is biting stuff, cruel. I mean, you couldn't even get the commercials on here, on network television. It's amazing the difference what you can get on British television too. It's just incredible. So when Mike Nesmith was doing television parts, he asked me to put together some English acts, some comedy acts that I thought would work over in America. And I must be honest, we had one heck of a time trying to get the stuff past the network censors. Just anything. I never forget, we got one script in from the Spinning Image people, the royal family. It was a little sketch. And Prince Charles says to Lady Diana, "Oh, darling, Prince William has done a doo-doo in his nappy." In his diaper, actually, translated diaper. Done a doo-doo in his diaper. And NBC wrote, I got a telex from NBC, says, "You must take out doo-doo. There can be no reference to fecal matter." I mean, and we were up against that, And I'm surprised he got on the stuff that he did on that show. I was really fighting a constant uphill battle. And some of the other acts that I had, we couldn't even consider. But we shot some of that stuff, and it's very funny. They're very, very clever, these guys, because they mimic the voices and they write these funny sketches.
Why do you think television parts didn't make it here?
I think that it was on either too early or should have been done for the primetime audience. I think Mike was very brave, and I got to give him a tremendous amount of credit for trying to get that show on primetime and do the things that he wanted to do. I think that he was crucified, essentially, by the networks. And in all fairness to the networks, I mean, they have a lot to lose. There's a lot at risk, and it is mainstream, and it is Midwest, and it's all that. But I remember Mike coming up with great sketch ideas, and they couldn't do them for one reason or another because of some national FCC or network policy. Elephant Parts, which is what the series was predicated on, was a collection of about 2 or 3 years of just little bits and pieces that Mike had collected for one reason or another. Not necessarily stuff that was forced. They were shooting stuff that they just thought was a great idea. It was all the best stuff. Then, of course, you get into a situation where you got to deliver to a network, and you got to start grinding it out. So that's one of the reasons. And the other reason is that I think it should have been on late night. I think he shouldn't have tried to go for the prime time slot. I mean, that's, I think, fairly obvious. I think he would agree. Gone late night and got on the more cutting, biting stuff that was a little bit closer to the knuckle. But I got to hand it to him. You got to give him credit for trying. I mean, it was a brave attempt.
Do you have any desire to do stuff for networks here?
Not a lot. No. Yeah, movie of the weeks. Oh yeah, I'd love to do movie of the week. Hi there, out there, Brandon. How are you? Movie of the week, director. Here's my card.
Speaking of which, there's.
I'd love to do movie of the week or an episode of Anthology, Twilight Zone or something like that. I'd love to do film. I don't think I'd want to do a multi-camera sitcom, because I hear that that's basically a producer-writer medium, not necessarily the director. And I'm a film man, essentially. I'm one camera at a time, like one shot at a time. And I don't really enjoy multi-camera stuff.
So is there any truth to the rumor that there's going to be a Monkeys movie of the week?
Well, I hope so. That's one of the reasons I'm here, is that after you and MTV, kindly started re-showing the show, which came as a great surprise to me. I landed here. I had no idea when I came to the States. I was here on some business, and suddenly I land, and it was the weekend, Pleasant Valley Sunday weekend, and suddenly everybody's taking my calls. I can't believe it. I don't know what to say to them, though. Oh, hi, Stephen.
Did you watch it?
Oh yeah, sure. I watched bits, and I gather Columbia TV, who controls the rights to the original episodes and to the name and the logo and all that. I gather they are quite interested. They've had some success with remaking. I think there was Leave It to Beaver and I Dream of Jeannie, and there's been a few of those, if I'm not mistaken.
A couple Gilligan's Islands.
Yeah, that have been fairly successful. So I've said, as long as I direct, you got me. I'm cheap.
So you wouldn't do it if you don't direct?
No. Essentially, I'm a director, and it would depend on what it is, I suppose. I wouldn't direct a variety. It'd be tough to be in the booth and you're on. Just a moment. Roll. Punch up camera 2. Take the last train. Zoom in. That would be a bit tough. But I don't intend to do a variety show anyway, so it doesn't make much difference. No, I would have to direct. Yeah.
Did it bring back any weird or unpleasant memories when watching the
Oh
old
no,
episode?
you're nuts. It's the greatest thing that happened to me. I mean, made me a star. I'm told I had a great time too. I don't remember a lot.
We won't get into why you don't remember.
Oh no, just too much. No, we didn't get into much of that either.
It was a psychedelic era, though.
It was a psychedelic area, but we were really protected. I mean, we were isolated. We lived in. Did you ever see the movie Head?
Mm-hmm.
That one with the black box. Well, that's about us living in a black box. A black box of a hotel room, a Holiday Inn or a Hilton, then into the limousine. The black box is a limousine, then back entrance of the auditorium, and up on the stage, and back into the garbage entrance of the auditorium, and back into the limousine, back into the stage. We never left this black box, so we were fairly isolated. Also, we weren't part of the contemporary music rock scene as so much as we were part of the television comedy theatrical scene. Again, as I say, the Monkees was much more like the Marx Brothers than anything else, and still is, I believe. I still think that's where our strength lies. Sorry, you were saying.
What was I
forget what
saying?
you were asking now.
Well, since we're on the track, could you tell us more about the tour that you're going to be doing this summer?
Well, it appears that.
Where are you going to be going? And
well, they say about 80 cities, and I haven't got an itinerary yet. But if I did, I'd let you know. It's going to start back east. I know that. I think towards the end of May, and I don't know. It's going to be weird. My wife talked me into it. I didn't want to go. I'd be honest. I just didn't think. I didn't know how I'd ever manage to do that again. It's a long, long time. And just scared, frightened, Oh God, what do you hold the stick? I mean, and my wife said, "Oh, we can take the kids and put them in a motorhome, and we can have a wonderful vacation." So she talked me into it, and I'm getting excited about it now. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
So you're going to tell us about your kids. How many do you have?
Well, I have 4. I have one from a previous liaison. My first wife, who was English, and she's 17 now. Her name is Amy.
Your wife
Hi,
is?
Amy. No, my wife. Oh, you get me in a lot of trouble. No, my daughter's 17, and she's a little actress. Just started, and she's already doing great. She's on shows. Growing Pains, I think, is one, and Silver Spoons, which I'm afraid I hadn't heard of, but because they're not in England. But I gather they're quite nice little shows. And
So she lives here?
yeah, she lives in L.A., and she's working and developing her career as an actress. It's great because it was without me, too, which is real nice. So, which I think is good. She's doing it essentially without me, and it'd be good for her.
Is she using her last name?
Yeah, Amy Dolenz. And then I have, in England, I have a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And they have an act. They're little kids, and they wear leotards.
The Monkettes.
No,
chimps.
my wife says, "They'll over my dead body. Will they ever go on the stage?"
So, did you encourage Amy to go into show business?
Nope.
And before you answer that,
That's a good question.
Another?
I'm going to go to the little boys.
Let's try to go over what I've failed to ask you yet.
Is this going all right?
I think it's going great.
Me too. Yeah, we did when we were over there. I saw him physically. Just add a little bit.
Again. Rows of houses that are all blue. She wrote a number of them sometime in the morning and some
We are
great
going
tunes.
again?
We are
We're
going
going.
again?
Okay. You want to start off with that?
Whatever you like.
We were talking about your.
Oh, we
finish
your
children.
daughter. Yeah, so we're talking about your daughter first.
Oh, yeah.
So did you encourage Amy to go into show business?
No, I didn't. and I'm pleased. It's because it's a choice entirely her own. Again, my parents never really encouraged me, or they never pushed me. They never dragged me around and said, dance! Eyes and teeth, eyes and teeth. None of that. And so I think it's healthy. I mean, who knows? You know, she may stick with it. She may choose not to, but she's real level-headed about it. She appreciates it as a business and as work. And I think she understands what it's all about. And I think that the hardest thing in this business is to take rejection and to not take it personally. To really convince yourself that if you get rejected for a part, it's not because your mother dresses you funny and you smell her. It's just the whim. It just who knows the reason, but it is not an attack upon the essence of your being.
What's your wife's name?
My present wife is named Trina.
Is she in show business at all?
No. No, she was studying to be a veterinarian, actually. She's and a very academic-minded. Her father is a research chemist, which is one of my hobbies.
Research chemistry?
Well, actually, more physics. I'm going back to school in England. They have a thing called Open University, and I'm going to try and get a degree in physics.
To do what with?
Oh, just to know. It's always been a big hobby: electronics, physics, lasers, you know, all that stuff.
Kind of like split some atoms in your garage and that kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Just level a few square blocks. No, I don't know if I'll, not necessarily use it. It just fascinates me. I love it. Particle physics, actually. I'm a fan of particle physics.
So you're not just a showbiz kind of guy. You're.
No. Well, I've always had that element, probably as a balance. But even back during the Monkey days, I had one of the first lasers in town. In '68, I had a laser, and knew how it worked. And I had a lot of equipment. I had a lot of electronic equipment, and had one of the first Moog synthesizers. Didn't know how to play it, but it sounded great. Made great flying saucer sounds. And built a helicopter in my den.
A real helicopter?
A real helicopter.
How big is your
A gyrocopter, actually, one of those gyrocopters. And no, I got it out. I'd allowed for that. I built a gyrocopter, because I had all kinds of machine tools and stuff. And my father was very handy. I mean, he was very, very handy with tools and stuff. And so I picked it up from him, I suppose. But I've always, I guess, used it as a bit of therapy, even to this day. I mean, I still, now I'm into computers and writing programs, and it's the same kind of thing, which is a counterbalance to this zany business we call show.
Well, I mean, I'm sure a lot of that stuff carries over into, like, doing new technical things in show business.
It does tend to now, especially these days, yeah.
And especially the commercials.
Special effects. Yeah, I used to do a lot of special effects, and some of my own special effects and practical stuff. Yeah.
And there's certainly a lot of television innovation, even back of the Monkees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fairly innovative, yeah, even at that time. We had trouble getting the show on the air, NBC didn't want to know. It's an interesting story. They the original pilot had a father figure, kind of a father knows best, uncle, who was like our manager, and they felt they needed that for the adult supervision. And the pilot, the testings, they were terrible. Nobody wanted to know. And Bert Schneider and Bob Ravelson, stuck to their guns and said, let's take that out. Let's get rid of this adult. Because every other show to that date that had children, or rather kids, young people in it, always had this father figure, the adult supervision. And they took him out right through the roof, the show was, because it was anarchic. It was the first time that young people had been seen on television controlling their own destinies entirely. And I think that had a lot to do with the success of the show.
Who played the father?
I don't even remember. It wasn't a father, it was an agent or a manager, and I'm sorry if you're out there, but I don't recall. It wasn't a very well-known actor at the time. And
Well, not once you kicked him off, it wasn't.
thanks a lot. Doomed his career. No, it was just a small part. It was only a very small part, but they thought it should be there as anyway.
You toured in '78 with the Monkees?
Oh yes, no, it wasn't the Monkees. It was Davey and I had decided to get back together, and I don't know what prompted it. We just decided that we'd go out and sing a few of the hits and maybe even record some new stuff. This is just before I went to England. This is during the period that I was trying to get work as a director here in Los Angeles. But in your hometown, you know, you're a bit like furniture after a while. People just don't see you. It was too early for nostalgia. So we got together, and it was actually quite successful. We had a good time. We were kind of, if the truth be known, we were kind of gearing ourselves for Vegas, you know, showbiz, Rowan and Martin, you know, kind of tuxes in it. I cringe when I think about it now. Not that the act was bad, because it was actually a lot of fun, but they don't tell you that, you know, Vegas and these kind of shows and that kind of a venue, it's all the losers that come and watch the shows, because if they're winning, they're not going to leave the tables. So we'd play these places where it's all these, you know, hookers, you know, oh, make me laugh, you asshole. You know, it was terrible. Oh, I got so depressed. It was just terrible. And that's when I decided to quit.
Did you get to the point where you wrote new material for it, or?
Oh yeah, yeah, we did. Yeah, and as I say, I mean, it was fun, and nothing really happened much of it, because essentially we stopped. We just quit midstream. We had a contract up at a big hotel up in Reno, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't bear the thought. Well, I got this job at the BBC, you see, for 1/100th of the salary, obviously, but I just couldn't bear showing up again in that lounge and singing to drunks.
Well, this interests me.
You'll never get any of this on, will you?
Well, you sure will. What I want to know is
it's not network, is it?
You actually broke a contract with a casino in Rio. Did you fear for your kneecaps?
No. Oh no. No, they were very nice. No, we didn't break the contract. No, we'd been offered a job and then finally decided not to do it. No, we didn't break the contract. No, I'm not a fool, you know what I mean? Maybe an actor, but I'm no fool.
Now, your sister was with you on this tour?
Oh yeah, Coco. And she sang with us. She's a great singer. She lives up north now, up in Northern California.
Does she?
She's getting into production. She should. I'll tell you. She just couldn't handle Hollywood. She made a choice. She says, I'm gonna, you know, I have to decide if I'm gonna be a singer and an actress. I've got to live here, and I don't want to live here. And she said, she cashed it in. She said it's not worth it. I respect her for that, because it's a tough place. It's a tough place to live. You know, I can't imagine ever living here. I'm going to keep my little English, my little English country home. No, but I'm here. I'm working here, you know, and I am going to try and generate some activity.
Can you tell me about some of the features that you're
One of the main reasons I came is raising money for a feature, written by Bruce Robinson, who wrote The Killing Fields. He wrote a screenplay for me, along with Channel 4, which is one of the television channels in England. Very bizarre, black comedy, weird kind of movie, which is be great if I get it off, but it's a tough one. I mean, I realize that. And then a number of other projects. I got like all kinds of irons in the fire, and shows back in England that eventually I'll go back to do. But I expect I'll be spending a lot of time out here now, because I'm hoping to bring some of that English quality, and people appear to want that, you know, and bring some of that over to here, because it's lots of stuff's boring over here, as you know. I mean, it is real tough, especially television, and it'd be great if we could like give it a kick up the butt, you know.
Except MTV, of course.
I meant network television. Yeah. No, cable stuff over here is, you know, PBS is still, you know, PBS. I mean, I don't know what you think about it, but PBS is, well, every channel in England is like PBS.
Because it's mostly British shows on PBS.
That's true. There's not as many commercial considerations in England, even though there are advertising on 2 of the channels. That is not the the motivating factor. In fact, they have a thing in England called the AI index. It's like ratings. It's the appreciation index. This will give you an idea of the mentality. If a show's on the air that has 1 million viewers, but they're a bit, they're not too excited about it one way or the other, they'll take that show off the air. If there's a show that only has 10,000 viewers, but they love it, they'll keep it on. And it's a major difference. It's this thing about the quality of the viewer, the appreciation of the viewer. I think we could use a bit of that over here.
Can we talk about the Monkeys convention that's happening this year in Philadelphia?
Yeah, well, that's what they tell me. A good friend of mine, Gary Strobel, who has been keeping the home fires burning, monkey-wise, along with Rodney Bingenheimer, who I'm sure you know, disc jockey extraordinaire. I gather they're having a convention, I think, in Philly. It is Philadelphia, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, in the summertime. But I'm afraid I don't know much more about it, except that I'll be there.
Have they had these before?
Yes, they have. They've invited me a couple of times, but I've been in England, and I haven't been back here when they were having the convention, so I never was able to make it, but we'll be there.
Who will be there?
Well, I will, and I assume David and Peter. Yeah, for sure.
Good. I'm just trying to see what I've missed so far. Fernwood Tonight.
Oh yeah.
When you were directing, will you direct Fernwood Tonight in England, or
and produced?
So you brought it over from America.
Yeah, like you know how you bring over English shows and change they call it change of format,
right.
Where they bring the show and keep the guts of it and then redo it for an American audience. Like All in the Family was the first and the well-known example. And I was just at my company there in London, LWT, London Weekend Television. They were looking for shows, and I said, there is this show, it's the greatest show in America called Fernwood Tonight, and I think it would make an excellent English version of it. And that's it. They bought the rights, and we did it. I mean, simple as that.
How did it work? Because that's really kind of like it's almost like it's a takeoff of small town America.
Yeah.
How did that work in England?
Yeah, not bad. No, it didn't do bad at all. The thing in England is that there really wasn't and still isn't that talk show kind of history of that kind of talk show. That doesn't really exist in England. So we had to twist it and do different things with it to try and make it work. But the stuff was, I think, very funny. It was really weird. We did some real bizarre stuff because I like that show. I love Martin Mull. God, I think he's so great.
Do you have any desire to perform just as an actor?
How much you got? Make me an offer. It's funny. I mean, you're asking me these questions. Yeah, man, I just got here like a week ago. I mean, this is all such a surprise. It scares me to death. I don't know. It's funny you should ask that. I mean, literally, only in the last 24 hours has it even occurred to me to consider that. Because agents are calling me up and people are, saying, we want to do this, and I don't know who they are. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know any of the players. Movies come to England a year after they've been here. I was at the Grammys party the other night, and it was so embarrassing because this girl comes up to me and says, "Oh, hi, Mickey, how are you? Oh, I was a fan of blah, 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 blah." And I didn't recognize her. I thought, oh, God, I'm supposed to know this girl. And I whispered, it's Whoopi Goldberg. And I felt like such an asshole. But the movie hadn't got to England, so I had no idea. And I'm trying to catch up real fast. And yes, I mean, if it was something real special and real interesting and exciting and funny and, something, I'd be interested. Call my agent. Okay.
Well, you leave us your card. Is there anything that I haven't touched upon that you'd like to talk about?
No.
We'll wait till the camera's off before I start touching upon you there.
Michael? Hello, ding ding.
Sorry?
Pardon me?
The Guinness ad.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you won't know. I don't think they have Guinness here, do they?
Oh, sure they do.
Yeah.
Oh, do they?
Oh, sure.
Well, just most recently, the last thing I shot actually in England was a little kind of a music promo video industrial thing for Guinness, the beer company. Over there, they were launching a calendar actually. And they asked me to shoot a thing, and it actually came out quite well. We won a little award, about that big, over in England. I was real proud of that actually.
Have you won other awards for stuff you've done? What other kind of awards have you won?
Won an award for a series over in England at the Banff Festival up in Canada. And, well, the Monkees won Emmys, of course, in the old days. And a few local things in England and stuff like that.
Did you win anything for directing the Monkees? Did you win an Emmy for that?
Did I personally? No,
Yeah.
no. The show won Best Comedy, I think, of the year or something like that in 67 or 68.
Great. Well,
How about the young ones? I'm just trying to.
Oh, they're great, aren't they? Is that over here?
yeah, we on MTV.
You showing that?
Yeah.
Oh, super.
Maybe just say something about the young
Oh yeah, could you do a little promo for us for the young ones and say?
Sure. Oh, I
Uh,
know them well. Two of the guys on it, Rick Mail and Nate Edmondson.
Uh-huh.
I was trying to get them on Mike's show, as the Dangerous Brothers, they're called, and just couldn't. They just they would have had to water down their stuff so badly that it just wasn't worth it. But they are so funny. I'm a big fan of theirs. And the other guy, the short guy with the black hair, I can't think his name.
Mike. Oh, he plays
Mike.
Mike. I don't know his
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
He was on Fernwood Tonight, or my version of Fernwood Tonight. He was a daredevil, eating yogurt after it had expired. That's great. It's expired a week ago. I'm going to eat it now.
So are they working on a new and they're bringing the series back or?
The young ones?
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't tell you, I'm afraid. I don't know. I suppose they will because it's very successful over in England. Very funny. I'm surprised. Are you showing that, yeah?
Yeah.
God,
Sunday night.
what do people
11:30.
think of that? They must think
They love it. They really love
Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah, it's really.
Isn't that bizarre?
Because it's something you don't see. You just don't see in America
Yeah.
on TV.
I had to take little bits of the Monkees in there, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's
That kind of
almost
anarchic.
the same thing. Four guys living in the same place together, being
Yeah. And bizarre,
nuts.
non sequitur,
Yeah.
breaking the reality all the time. It's great stuff.
So maybe a new monkeys meet the young ones kind of.
Yeah,
I
who
see
knows?
a feature. Wait a second. Or at least
Yeah.
the movie of the week.
Yeah, that's a good idea. The Writers Guild, please. Oops, sorry, I leaned out of the frame, and he wasn't ready. Oh,
All right, it matches the other one.
yeah, oh sorry. Yeah.
Anything else, Mark, Mr. Producer? That
Could we, if Mickey wouldn't mind, could you maybe say a couple of lines right into the camera for like a promo? or
Yeah,
something?
absolutely.
do some ideas
sure.
for us? Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Will this get me a job as a VJ?
Maybe if you want one. I don't know if you want one. But as a guest VJ, yeah, guest VJ.
A guest
We'll
VJ?
definitely talk
Yeah.
to talent and artist relations.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so we should do, watch the Monkees. It's every day at 8 Eastern, 5. Should we say 8 Eastern, 7 Central, or? It's every day. It's at.
Now in
Oh.
about 5 seconds.
So
Should I do this as Michael Dolenz or as Mickey of the Monkees?
Mickey.
Yeah, do it.
Hi, that's Mickey of the Monkees. Wow, hey, psychedelia. Harry Krishner, Waterbeds. Don't forget the Monkees on MTV. When?
We're on
8 Eastern, 7 Central, 4 o'clock on New York's Cosmo.
All right, it's 8 Eastern. Just do the Eastern times. We'll do.
Okay,
It's on at noon and 8 Eastern.
Noon and 8.
Noon and 8.
Noon and 8 Eastern.
All right, noon and 8 p.m. Eastern.
Right. Hi. This is Micky Dolenz, in case you couldn't guess. And the Monkees are on MTV, as you know, 8 Eastern and noon and 12 Central. No, wait a minute. See, in England, there's only one time zone. You got to understand. It's much easier.
Greenwich Mean.
Greenwich Mean Time.
Right. That is mean time. All right, do it. Just say it's at noon and 8.
Noon and 8.
It's at noon and 8. Watch the Monkees. And,
Like psychedelia type of thing.
yeah, do it. Just.
Hi, this is Micky Dolenz, Harry Krishner, Waterbeds. Remember that? And watch the Monkees on MTV at noon and 8 Eastern.
Great.
Was that?
That was great.
That was good.
It's like the outtakes.
The promo.
Television, the first. Yeah, we cut these together.
Just say what?
MTV, the first video network.
You're watching MTV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're watching MTV, the first video network.
Do you want to do any more?
Stuff. He told me to say that.
Yeah. Now do it again while the tape's rolling.
Hi, this is Micky Dolenz, and you're watching MTV, in case you didn't know. And we play hip stuff. What? No, we show hip stuff. Well, we play and show hip stuff 24 hours a day in stereo. Told me to say that.
And we'll pay more to say that.
Yes. Where's my check?
Oh,
Um,
God. Keep going. One more. MTV. Some people just don't get it.
All right. Some people just don't.
That's
That's
a
like
campaign we have.
our motto. And some people just don't get it.
Oh yeah. Just what MTV? Some people just don't get it.
Yeah.
Hi, this is MTV. It's not this is MTV. No.
And I just say MTV.
MTV.
Yeah.
MTV. Some people just don't get it.